I think it's safe to say that Halo and the Halo franchise as a whole is about as close to video game or the video game equivalent of Star Wars as we have today. And I'm not talking about like the similarities in the genre or the characters. I'm talking about in its popularity and how much it it kind of parallels to Star Wars. Star Wars was made by George Lucas and Halo was made by Bungie. And both George Lucas and Bungie, in their own um, different situations, stepped away from the property that they made famous. And like Star Wars, Halo was also given company that didn't really know what made it good. I think that's safe to say. Like Disney and with 343 Industries. 343 Industries made a Halo game that a lot of people liked and a lot of people praised. It was critically acclaimed. It sold a lot, and it helped kind of cap off the Xbox 360 as the winner of the what is it, the seventh generation of gaming consoles. And Star Wars: The Force Awakens, it was kind of the same thing, you know. Critics said it was a good, solid movie, gave it the props that I think it rightfully deserves. But I think with the core fan base, a lot of people they weren't happy just because it wasn't um, Star Wars that they grew up with, and I think that's the same to say with Halo 4. It was different than what they had known. It wasn't Bungie, and Force Awakens wasn't George Lucas. So I think that's why a lot of people um, were a little bit more skeptical going into it, despite the acclaim it got from certain critics. And I'm saying that, and I'm aware that not literally every critic gave it a perfect score. I don't think like any critics I saw at least gave either one of those products a perfect score. I'm just saying that they were generally positive reviews towards the respective games and movies. Now, with Halo 5, the parallels get even better, especially with Star Wars The Last Jedi. It was still being made up by the people who made the last one, and the last one was received generally well by the fans and the critics, like I just said. Not everybody, but most of the people liked them. Then Halo 5 comes out, and The Last Jedi come out. And not a lot of people like Halo 5. Not a lot of people like The Last Jedi. People like them for what they are. But when it comes to the core fan base, the people who grew up playing, and not necessarily even people who grew up, like people who were older, people who were in their 20s, 30s, 40s, it doesn't matter. If you played Halo from its inception, and if you watch Star Wars from its inception, a lot of those demographics have been outspoken about their discomfort and their disdain for the for those respective products, Halo 5, Halo 5 Guardians, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So that brings me to the question: will Halo Infinite be regarded the same fashion that Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker was? Because for me, I did not like Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker. It just didn't vibe with me. It wasn't interesting. It was boring, and some parts were laughably bad to me. Like I literally laughed out loud at some parts. But that's neither here nor there. Um, so I'm wondering, will Halo 6 or Halo Infinite go the route of Star Wars Episode 9? And what I mean by that is, I think anybody who's realistic when they're watching it, because I know, they're like hardcore fans and stuff who don't want to, don't want to see see it how it actually is because it's a franchise that they're passionate about. But Halo 5 was bad, and I think almost everybody, even the people who liked Halo 4, didn't like Halo 5, myself included. And so I think it was just basically panned by the entire by like I'd say an overwhelming majority of the fan base did not like Halo 5. An overwhelming majority of the fan base did not like Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So I'm wondering, is Halo Infinite going to mirror The Rise of Skywalker by backtracking and trying to fix what people didn't like about the previous installment? And I really hope that it doesn't, because, like it or not, Halo 5 exists. It's Halo 5. We're not going to get a different Halo 5, and I don't want Halo Infinite to try and be Halo 5 and Halo 6 like Star Wars did. So, those are my general concerns about Halo 6. What I like, and I had to explain it out because I wanted to make a good point about that. Um, but moving on, I want to talk about what they've said, what 343 has promised, and what we might actually get. Because Halo 5, on the gameplay side of things, was actually a pretty solid game in my opinion. I don't know about other people. Not a lot of people talk about the gameplay in comparison to the story. When people talk about Halo 5, they usually talk about um, how they didn't like the story or how they liked the story, because I think it's such a polarizing thing. Um, but on the gameplay side of things, I actually really like it. I think it's a solid Halo game. It's not the best, I would say. That 343 still haven't captured that Bungie feel, that kind of the balancing that Bungie got with their games. Um, I still don't think 343 has captured that. I mean, they did remaster Halo 2, so they have the mechanics and the engine and stuff. I would assume. So I think it wouldn't be that hard to kind of get in there with like Halo 1, 2, and 3, and Reach even, which had some pretty good gameplay, and kind of just like figure it out, get a kind of sweet spot in there. Because Halo 4 was like really unbalanced. Halo 5, it was all right, but there were still like OP weapons. So I hope they can find a good middle ground. Because I don't know if they're gonna be making another mainstream Halo game after Halo Infinite. They could end it with Halo Infinite, but if it's like Halo 4 and Halo 5, it could be like a shorter game. It could only have like 8 to 10 missions, or like 6 to 8 missions, if you count how many like actual missions there were in Halo 5. There was only like 6. The rest of them were just kind of like sad excuses. So I just hope that it all comes together and that they listen to us, and that's a good story, balanced gameplay, and that it like that it feels like Halo. It really makes you feel like Master Chief. um, yeah, that's just what I'm hoping for. That it's a good game. I hope they bring back 4-player split screen. If the Xbox Series X is as strong as it claims to be, 12 teraflops. I'd imagine that they could get 4-player split screen running on that console with 60 FPS in 4K. You know, um, Halo 4 had really good graphics. It wasn't 60 FPS in 4-player split screen, but like, especially with the stylized art style of Halo Infinite, it's not like pushing photorealism or anything. This is like it looks like polished current gen graphics, because it is a current gen game that's coming out on next gen, when next gen launches, because it is coming to Xbox One. So I hope that they get 4-player split screen, and they have said split screen, but they haven't specified on whether that be 2-player just co-op, or if you get 4-player same console split screen, which they better do, because like, actually, if they don't do that, I might not buy it. Might just watch a walkthrough or something. Because Halo 5, that was a disaster. So I just hope that it all comes together and it's all good, because back to that Star Wars comparison, I don't know a lot of people that liked Rise of Skywalker. I haven't seen a whole lot of praise for it on like YouTube and like reviews or in on websites reviews or anything like that. It's like the lowest grossing Star Wars movie um, ever, I think. Main out of the nine movies, because we all know Solo, that was a disaster too. So I hope that Halo Infinite, I hope they give us some gameplay, hopefully in the next like month or two, because the game comes out this fall apparently. I hope they give us some solid gameplay. Hope they give us some solid story elements, some good story beats that that just brings it back, just brings it back to what we lost in Halo 5. And like I said, I don't want them to retcon anything. Hope Locke, I hope Fireteam Osiris are still characters. Hope Lasky, all of them are still characters. Hope Blue Team's still in it. Hope they're not just shoved to the side. What they'll do with the four-player split screen or four-player co-op in the campaign, I don't know. It'd be cool if it was four-player split screen co-op campaign, because we've never had that on a single console before. So I would love to have that, but I hope that the side characters that not too many people liked in the last one, in Halo 5, I hope they aren't just like gone with the wind. I hope they're still in there, because I don't want them to retcon anything. Um, and one last thing, I also hope they don't bring back Brian Reed, or if they do bring back Brian Reed, that they have somebody supervise them and that they have him know what a Halo game is supposed to be like, and that Halo 5 was not that. So I think if he writes the story of Halo Infinite, I just hope it's better. So bottom line, I want good gameplay, four-player split screen, balanced gameplay, and I want a good story with good pacing, good characters, good emotional beats, and I don't want any retconning. So that's just the entirety of my thoughts there. Anyway, if you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more videos like that, hit the bell icon. And thank you so much for watching, and peace.